The Prime Minister has revealed Australia's hand on the controversial Israel debate, announcing the nation will become one of the few countries in the world to recognise West Jerusalem as the Israeli capital. Palestinian delegates have accused Scott Morrison of trying to save face, and as Fiona Willan explains, they say the move could spark violence at home and abroad.
It was the answer many were waiting for, but few might welcome.
Australia now recognises West Jerusalem is the capital of Israel.
A move symbolically dividing the disputed city in two and giving neither Israelis nor Palestinians what they want.
The Australian government has also resolved to acknowledge the aspirations of the Palestinian people for a future state with its capital in East Jerusalem.
He also revealed the Australian embassy in Tel Aviv will stay put for now.
We look forward to moving our embassy to West Jerusalem when practical, in support of and after final status determination.
It was during the high-stakes Wentworth by-election the PM first flagged the idea of moving the embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. Scott Morrison was accused of trying to score votes from the large Jewish population. But the government lost the seat and angered some of our closest neighbours. Indonesia's putting the brakes on a trade deal.
I think he put himself in this problem, and he wants, to create a sort of exit strategy which saves his own face, unfortunately.
The Israeli embassy wants to consider its position before responding. But the Israeli Prime Minister has made his nation's view clear.
God bless Jerusalem, the eternal, undivided capital of Israel.
Labor says this is a humiliating back-down by the Prime Minister and that it's not appropriate to play politics with Middle Eastern foreign policy.
My fear is that he's made Australia look stupid on the international stage.
There are also fears it's made Australians less safe overseas and on home soil.
The bottom line is that it could spark violence here in Australia.
Yes, this is a very sensitive issue, and because of that, it could.
Fiona Willan, 9 News.
The Prime Minister has confirmed Australia will recognise West Jerusalem as Israel's capital in spite of a threatened backlash from Arab states. But Scott Morrison has also thrown support behind a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital.
Described by John Howard as the problem solver, Scott Morrison announces his plan to try resolving the crisis in the Middle East.
West Jerusalem is the capital of Israel.
The Prime Minister declaring his support for Israel after criticising the UN General Assembly of bullying the Jewish state.
A refuge from persecution and genocide is somehow now the centre of cruelty in the world. It's ridiculous. It's intellectual fraud.
As for plans to move Australia's embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, for now it will hold off, instead opting to establish a trade and defence office in the city while looking for a suitable site for the embassy.
We look forward to moving our embassy to West Jerusalem when practical.
Scott Morrison also acknowledging aspirations for a future Palestinian state with its capital in East Jerusalem.
It's unfortunately that Australia put itself in this position because of very narrow political gains after the Wentworth elections.
The move has been slammed by Labor as a humiliating backdown.
Mr Morrison put his political interest ahead of our national interest.
Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong saying the new stance could put our international relationships at risk.
This is Scott Morrison trying to dig himself out of a hole of his own making.
The Palestinian delegation in Australia is warning Arab states could cut diplomatic ties. It could also lead to economic boycotts and even violent protests.
This is a very sensitive issue, and because of that, it could.
Estelle Grieping, 7 News.